Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Buckeye Interior, Lantern TV's live news magazine. I'm Rithika Shah.
And I'm Franz Ross. In contrast with our usual lineup, this program aims to take stories that deserve more time and care and give them an in-depth telling.
Tonight, we will give you a look at an array of topics, from the opening of the new James Cancer Hospital to the rise of crime on and off campus.
We'll also be looking at what's been going on at Mirror Lake, another perspective at Buckeye Athletics, and we'll talk with some of the university's top decision makers.
So stay with us, because for the next 50 minutes, we intend to give you a look inside the mind and spirit of the Ohio State experience.
Lake Jump has had students and the university administration bumping heads for well over a year. Between the lake's reconstruction project to the gates and wristbands that have now been associated with the cold water jump, the little lake in the South Oval has caused more than its fair share of controversy. The Lantern's campus editor, Logan Hickman, has looked into what this year's jump will bring. Logan?
Thanks, Franz. Students hoping to take the plunge into Mirror Lake's icy waters this year are set to get the chance, but they'll face heightened safety measures for the second year straight, something that has left some students highly displeased. Mirror Lake, a beloved campus landmark of both people and animals. But come November 25th, you might not find the lake so serene. Students are expected to take to the water to show their Buckeye pride before Ohio State is set to face Michigan for the annual Mirror Lake Jump.
It's my favorite thing about Ohio State.
And even though the jump is organized by students and is not a university-sanctioned event, University Police Chief Paul Denton says it's his job to keep students safe and to keep non-students out.
We plan to have a perimeter security measures, a fence with the access points, both for ingress and egress, multiple gates to allow people in, multiple exit points to make sure people move out of the area with no impediment.
Students will need a wristband to gain entry into the fenced-off area, something that received wide negative feedback after it was implemented for the first time last year. Denton said, however, some students wanted the fences and wristbands back this year.
There was a series of forums by undergraduate student government up with the resolutions. They talked in detail about potential safety measures, safety plans, how this event might be carried out by students. And some of those resolutions were the fence and the wristbands, and we agreed with them on that point.
And even though USG's resolution showed reasoning for the fences and wristbands, USG President Celia Wright said it was the university's lack of communication last year that caused the outrage among students.
Certain things that the university has done in the past to minimize risk were not received well, and I think a big part of that wasn't so much about what they did, but how it was communicated or how it wasn't. So having the fences last year, we saw a lot of outrage about it from the student side. I think part of it was that the erection of a fence and seeing that was a little bit the spontaneity of the event and what makes it so fun, but not accompanying the presence of those fences and wristbands with a very clear explanation that it was meant to keep high schoolers from coming, or alumni or people from around the community that aren't actually affiliated with Ohio State from jumping. I think most students could appreciate the need for that.
Of alcohol. And we'll say that public safety has the right and obligation to turn people away that may be at a risk to themselves or others because of that.
Not all students plan on jumping intoxicated. Some are fully aware of the risk that comes with jumping in water that's less than 10 degrees above freezing.
Even without being intoxicated, cold water can shock your body. I've had a lot of experience fishing and such up in Canada, and you don't fall in. That's just don't. And but under the influence of alcohol, you can only not only shock your body, but not know that you've shocked your body.
I've jumped every year that I could, and I did it sober, and I highly recommend that to students. If it's a great tradition, you should want to remember it.
No matter what the implication, others said their love for the tradition is so strong they'll jump no matter what.
Doesn't matter. It was snowing last year. It was actually physically snowing when we jumped in the lake.
Nothing's going to hold you back, huh?
No.
It's kind of crazy, but hey, why not? I suppose if you want to. It's kind of your own risk, though. It's not, it shouldn't be somebody else's priority.
I think it's just a great sense of, like, everybody comes together. It's this big thing. We come together and we hate Michigan and we love our school. Love it.
Logan, with the news of the renewal of the wristbands and fences that will be put up this year, once again, students are looking to jump the day before the scheduled jump on Monday. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I can tell you, Franz, what the university police chief said when I talked to him was that no matter what the situation, police just plan to respond appropriately. He didn't say if they would open the gates or the fences or whatever, so I guess we'll wait and see what happens.
All right, thanks, Logan. Well, we're staying in the water for this next story. When you want to talk about dominance in athletics at Ohio State, perhaps the best place to look may be the last place people think of, the Griggs Reservoir Boathouse. We're now going to our assistant sports director, Aaron Yerian, who recently caught up with the Ohio State women's rowing team. Aaron?
That's right, Rithika. As one championship run in Columbus comes to a close, another one looks to start. But this time, they're making waves on the Scioto River.
I've been able to be the head coach here and help guide the program, but it's been the efforts of many, many, many people that have enabled Ohio State women's rowing to achieve the success that we're enjoying right now. The rhythm of rowing and most spring sports is probably similar to just sort of the academic year. So for us, the championship ended the 1st or the 2nd of June. We were already out of school. And the kids were gone the next day off to their summer whatever. Some of them were rowing for their national teams. Others were going off to study abroad or do internships. I mean, it's very much, the summer is pretty much the time where the rowers are on their own to choose. And then right after the new year, we'll be back together, actually heading down south to Clemson, South Carolina for a training camp that's going to lead right up to the first day of classes. We'll be back the Sunday before classes begin. That Monday, they'll be back in school. We'll be back together as a team. And, by the end of January, we'll be back in what's known as the championship segment, where we'll be 20 hours. And then everything just becomes weather dependent at that point as to how much you'll be on the water and how much you'll be training on land. So right now, we're only out on the water 2 hours a week, all right, one row a week as a team, and really at all. And everything else is, we're in the weight room, or we're in the erg room, or we're running. We are able to require 8 hours of work out of them. They, there's more work that they're doing on their own, but we can't monitor that at this point. So it's really the culture of the team that's sort of keeping their training or not keeping their training where it belongs, depending upon how that goes.
It's just really exciting going from being a freshman and getting 5th place, and then being able to work towards your ultimate goal is to win the national championship, and then to do that again is just like a dream come true. And how we did it, and I was in the first varsity 8 last year, and the way that our boat handled that situation, it was really fantastic. I mean, it's definitely not easy to three-peat. No one's ever done it in NCAA women's history. And everyone's targets on Ohio State, and I think our team really welcomes that, and we're up for the challenge. And I think it's really great having a young team, and they really want to learn, and they come in and they know they're training with the best, and they want to be the best, and it's a really great team dynamic we have going on right now.
The women's rowing team calls this place home, the Griggs Reservoir Boathouse in Dublin, which also houses all of the racing and practice shells for the team.
Especially in the fall, we're kind of just different. The lineups change pretty much daily or every week, but you're competing on the water, but off the water you're all going through the same thing, all going through the same training and stuff, and it's really a family dynamic to kind of pick each other up and keep going and moving forward, and that's how we make progress as a team. I think just in general, like all of the seniors try and kind of guide the freshmen and learn how to be a Buckeye and how to handle themselves.
Which leads one to wonder, how does someone get started in racing, and what makes them come to Ohio State?
My brother. I was a synchronized swimmer, and then I just wanted to do something different, and he was like, you have to try rowing, and I was like, okay, I'll try it, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I looked at a lot of colleges, and Ohio State was everything that I was looking for. It was like, it had the academics, and it had the family aspect, like the team has become my family, and it was just like literally the perfect fit.
As the start of the season gets closer, the team feels that they can build on their previous experience to propel themselves to the top.
A pretty good idea as to the equation that goes into putting yourself into a good position of being able to win the championship. And then the other thing that we have going for us is we have quite a few people that have already done it. And so they're able to sort of share that experience, the lessons that they've learned, demystifying certain things about it for the athletes that haven't done it?
Oh, just racing. I'm so excited to race against all the other teams and like see what it feels like to be like at Big Tens and NCAA. And I don't know, I'm really excited for the spring season.
I mean, right now my 100% focus is this season, and I mean, this has been 4 years in the making, and I really want to see if we can make history again.
Up next, USG President Celia Wright will be in studio to talk about her time in office.
We'll also have an interview with Executive Dean of Arts and Sciences, David Manderscheid.
And we're looking into the upswing of crime on and off campus this semester.
Stay with us.
Ohio State is saving lives every day.
This is Ohio State.
We're the economic engine of the state, a major employer.
Over 60,000 students. We're on the forefront of cancer research. An educational core of Ohio.
Impacting tens of thousands daily.
Our alumni organization is nearly 500,000 worldwide.
This is Ohio State.
This is Ohio State.
Ohio State.
This is the Ohio State University.
I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I have other friends, but they're not my best friends. My field hockey girls are my best friends, and I would do anything for them. My friends from home, when they heard that I committed to Ohio State, they said, "What are you thinking?" I don't know, I just thought my personality isn't gonna mesh well with the rest of the girls. What if they don't like me? What if I don't fit in? What if I don't play well? What if the coaches are disappointed? So many things ran through my head over and over and over. My assistant coach picked me up from the airport and drove me to the dorms that we would be staying at, and all of the freshmen were there. And I get out the car and they all just like come up so happy, so cheerful. And like right in that moment, I was like, okay, I'm going.
Alone, both University Police and Columbus Police have received multiple reports of sexual assault both off campus, prompting University Police to issue a handful of public safety notices. But those notices don't cover all of the sexual violence that's occurred in the Ohio State community this year. We're now going to our Lantern multimedia editor, Chelsea Spears, who brings you more on the sexual assault crimes that have been happening across campus.
Yeah, Franz, throughout this semester, I've been keeping a close eye on the crimes that have been happening both on and around campus, and in particular, sexual assault crimes. And while University Police have issued at least 4 public safety notices this year, there have also been several others that didn't warrant a notice. One of those was in the case of a peeping Tom who was targeting girls in basements.
In each case, it started with a knock on the window.
Lights on, the blinds were open, so it was nighttime outside.
That's partially what caught Melanie Rose's attention one Wednesday night. She had just finished watching American Horror Story with her roommates in the basement of their apartment complex. That's when she heard the knock.
I looked over and saw something in the window and kind of looked back at my other roommate like, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Outside their window, the girls saw a man. They could only see him from the waist down, and they couldn't see his face, but it was enough to witness him masturbating.
I didn't really know what was going on and thought like, oh, my mind just playing tricks on me.
But then reality set in. Melanie said her and her roommates quickly shut the blinds and locked the door. Melanie said the man sprinted away, and the girls really didn't think too much of it, until she heard it also happened to some other girls off campus.
It wasn't just like a one-time occurrence that like, wow, like this had been going on. Not just to us, but to other people.
Melanie and her roommates live on East 14th. They never reported the incident to police, but 2 different groups of girls called the cops for very similar circumstances not even a week earlier. One group of girls lived on East Woodruff. The other lived on East Lane.
This is the apartment complex where Melanie and her roommates live. A CPD commander said it's possible the same guy was committing all of these crimes because they're all so eerily similar. In each case, it began with a knock on the window, and more specifically, a knock on the basement window. In each case, it happened at night when the perpetrator could more easily see into the basement. Now, no one's been arrested in connection to these crimes, but Melanie and her roommates say they're taking extra precautions, and they've closed the blinds on their window.
In another off-campus incident, CPD investigators say a woman chose to hop off a COTA bus after her flip-flop broke back in September. They say she began walking down High Street to try and fix her shoe when she ran into Randy Graham Jr., a homeless man who frequents the University District area. Not long after the woman ran into Graham, CPD Bike Patrol officers say they caught him reportedly raping the woman inside an off-campus garage. Officer Christopher Billman was one of 3 Bike Patrol cops there that night.
Well, we routinely check on the open garages, making sure there's nothing going on. We didn't really see or hear anything at the time. We just lit up the section of garages. That's when we found the suspect and victim.
The officers immediately intervened, and the victim told police that it was not consensual. Bellman said it's relatively common for people like Graham, who aren't really a part of the OSU community, to cause problems in the area.
We have a lot of people from the outside coming in. They see opportunities, money, cell phones, maybe not a good awareness of their surroundings. People like to come in. We also have a high homeless population that interacts with the students and the general public as well.
Billman said this is one of the most severe cases he's seen in his 14 years on the force.
It's very rare to catch someone in the act. So many times you hear about it, or you know, it's just one of those things that just be in the right place at the right time.
Graham's case was still active as of Monday evening. He faces 3 counts of rape and 1 count of kidnapping. A little closer to home, 2 women called police to report sexual assaults inside OSU residence halls. One of those was inside a North Campus dorm on September 14th. The other inside a South Campus one on November 3rd. While it may feel like there's been more sexual assaults on campus this semester, Detective Cassandra Schaefer from the Ohio State University Police Division says that might not be the case. Detective Schaefer says it might not be an increase in sexual assaults, but that people are just more comfortable reporting them.
The thing we have to realize is that it isn't the victim's fault, and that they didn't, no matter what they're doing, give somebody permission to hurt them. So it is incumbent for us as a society to look at the suspect and hold them accountable.
Reporting sexual assaults can create more awareness and ultimately help catch perpetrators. But Ohio State Sexual Violence Prevention Coordinator Michelle Bangin says preventing assault is all about early detection and being a good bystander.
If people are making inappropriate jokes, joking about rape or sexual assault, using degrading or demeaning language towards women or really anybody, even gay jokes, if people don't intervene in those what seem like less emergency situations, it just creates a culture where sexual violence can occur and everybody sort of turns a blind eye to the situation.
With so many students at Ohio State, raising awareness at this campus can make a large impact in reducing a culture where sexual assault can occur. To stay safe, Detective Schaefer says reducing distractions and getting off the cell phones is the best way to enhance your safety. But she also has another tip.
I think continuing to do the things that you learn as you grow up, which is be aware of your surroundings, recognize threats, and go with your gut feeling. When you see something, go with it, try to avoid it, try to get to a safe space, and really, really listen to your intuition. That's the hardest thing for people to do, because forever and ever we've been told to kind of not listen to that so we don't insult somebody. We need to get past that.
Because, as Melanie puts it,
just off-campus life kind of thing that, you never know what's going to happen.
for anyone who's been a victim of sexual assault, there are resources available 24/7 to help. Detailed information about what your options are can be found at the Student Advocacy Center website at advocacy.osu.edu, or you can call them at 614-292-1111. Reporting for Lantern TV, I'm Chelsea Spears.
Thanks, Chelsea. We're now joined by undergraduate student government president Celia Wright. Thanks for joining us, Celia.
Thank you for having me. Well, Celia, in that last segment, we touched on the topic of sexual violence on and off campus. And as we know, during your time here at OSU President, USG has gotten involved in the It's On Us campaign, which seeks to raise awareness about preventing sexual violence. So why is this a project that USG has chosen to support this year?
Absolutely. The It's On Us campaign has been a really big priority for USG this year. The campaign was something that we learned about last spring, but we were contacted directly by the White House a few months ago to come to their kickoff and really try to have some kind of successful rendition here at Ohio State. The subject about sexual assault is something we were already passionate about for some time, simply because the statistics about sexual assault are something we can't continue to ignore. 1 in 5 women, 1 in 16 men being assaulted. It was something that we needed to address, and I'm glad we've had the opportunity.
What's the significance of such a large university like Ohio State joining this cause, and what goals do you hope to meet?
It's a great question. Over 200 universities have joined the campaign, and we're glad to be one of the largest that's taking part. So I think the fact that Ohio State students and university have shown so much support and enthusiasm about this campaign really shows a national culture shift in our ability to recognize sexual assault as problematic and a need to support survivors better. And taking that momentum with us, it's a lot easier to advocate for students when that support is visible.
And how can students offer their support? How can students at Ohio State get involved as a part of this campaign?
So at a minimum, the premise of the It's On Us campaign is to take the pledge. It's something that can be done very quickly at itsonus.org. It's very mobile friendly. And we encourage students to do that as we can track the number of community members, students, faculty, staff, that take the pledge to see how well we've reached our body with the campaign. But even aside from that, we have several events this week alone. It just happens to be the National Week of Action with the It's On Us campaign, and we have several events happening. One of them later tonight, a multi-partisan conversation about sexual assault. Tomorrow, some survivors will be telling their stories. We've received a lot of support from student organizations at Ohio State, and we're very glad that students have taken the time to stand on the Oval or sit in the Union and show that they care.
Now, to switch gears here, you've been in office for a few months. How would you gauge your time in office thus far in terms of successes or challenges or whatnot?
Sure. It's been a really wonderful experience, partly for me and partly just to see how well so many new members of USG are doing this year. We have our largest new member class that we have of all time. Almost 200 people applied to be in USG, and that was unprecedented. So providing all of them with things to work on and seeing them really take initiative and do well has been a great success for the organization at large. Additionally, our work on several policies is going well, and certain things like the It's On Us campaign has been a neat opportunity for USG to reach out to a group that we might not have otherwise usually communicated with.
And, like you said, a lot of the policies that USG has been trying to accomplish. During your campaign, you talked about increasing efficiency and making USG more accessible to students, and things like basketball ticketing and meal plan changes. How do you and Vice President Leah think that you guys have accomplished that? How would you gauge your time here?
I would say it's been more successful than I even expected, and I can't take credit for that. A lot of our really best projects were the work of many other members in USG. One of them, as you mentioned, was the revision of the basketball ticketing policy. That was a big win for us, something we've wanted to do for a long time, something to allow the most loyal fans to get to go to the games and to have ease. So I'm really glad we got to get that policy through. Other policies are still in the works, but we're seeing a lot of promise, like bringing a bike share to campus, assuring better oversight of fees at the university level, really being adamant about a more affordable meal plan. These are things that we're finally seeing take hold, and I really hope before our term is up, we'll see tangible changes.
One thing you brought up was making USG more accessible to its student body. Do you believe you've done that, or do you have other steps in the future that you wish to accomplish that?
Sure. I would really, really say that we have. Our work on sexual assault, for example, a topic that previously has been untouched by USG, as well as the Mirror Lake Jump, another topic untouched by USG, at a minimum has provided an opportunity for students to engage with us that might not otherwise have. So I'm really glad we've been able to do that, but we certainly don't consider our work done in that department, and we'll continue to try to reach out to students and really work the PR scene well.
All right, and we're coming up here towards the end of the semester. What message do you have for the student body that's listening to you right now?
Well, one message that is quite relevant to what we're doing in student government is that of mental health and trying to improve the resources that we have at Ohio State. While they're really high quality, the quantity isn't always where we want it to be. So my message to students at this point in the semester, I realize without a fall break, which USG did have success in that department, we will be having fall break next year, but in the interim, it can be really stressful for students in fall semester before we take that break. And I would say for those of us who are stressed or having a tough time, we're almost there. The light's at the end of the tunnel, so that would be my main message.
All right, well, thank you so much, Celia. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
From mathematics to the humanities, arts and sciences is the state's largest and likely most diverse college. Our assistant news director, Ariana Bernard, got to speak with the man in charge of it all, Arts and Sciences Executive Dean David Manderscheid. Ariana?
Thanks, Rithika. Just over a year ago, David Manderscheid became Vice Provost and Executive Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at Ohio State. The dean talked about his 16 months at the university, including his vision of Ohio State becoming a more diverse campus. Manderscheid hopes to bring more majors to the college and is a key participant of the High Street Arts District development. I sat down with him on Tuesday to talk about his time leading the College of Arts and Sciences. Take a listen. Thank you, Dean Manderscheid, for sitting down with us today. We really appreciate your time. I'd first like to start off by asking you, you've joined Ohio State about 16 months ago, and what changes did you want to bring to the College of Arts and Sciences?
Well, first off, thank you for taking the time to interview me. It's my pleasure to be on TV with you. And I came here very excited 16 months ago to join one of the largest colleges of arts and sciences in the country and one of the best. And I have a simple goal to make this the best college of arts and sciences in the country. And the thing to remember as we do that is that the college is only 4 years old. 4 years ago, there were 5 separate colleges that were combined. And that's what my predecessor, the now provost, Joe Steinmetz, did, brought the 5 colleges together. And now it's time to take it level. We call it ASC 2.0 is what we're calling it. And have better integration across the divisions, more opportunity for collaboration for students and for faculty. And that's how we're going to get there.
And what do you think of the progress you and the college as a whole have made thus far?
I always want things done yesterday, so I'm always an impatient sort, but I'm very pleased with the progress we've made. We've brought a number of new divisional deans into the college, we've brought a new vice dean into the college, and we're all very excited as well as the department chairs, faculty, and then the students about the progress and where we're headed.
Now, you cite one of your priorities as increasing the numbers of underrepresented women and minority students and faculty in the College of Arts and Sciences, especially in the STEM disciplines. Do you think that the college has taken a major stride in the past 16 months to increase that diversity?
Well, certainly we've started on certain efforts, and we'll see that in the discovery theme hiring. It's too early to see that impact because we've just had one cycle of hiring, but we're hopeful to see that impact soon.
You've also cited wanting to use research to solve major global issues. Are there any issues currently that you or the college are putting emphasis on?
Well, I think one thing that we're seeing an emphasis on is the new major in data analytics that we're having tremendous success. Already 40 students enrolled. I expect that major in the next few years to grow to maybe 400, 500 students because it's a great career option, and it does help solve world problems. And I'm the lead dean on the effort to hire new faculty in data analytics. So that's an example of collaborating to solve big problems.
With that new major of data analytics, are there any other new majors planning to be implemented in the future?
Sure. So 2 years ago, the college started a new major in neuroscience, and that's doing fabulous. Some of our best students are attracted to that major. We have 800. Like I said, I expect data analytics to grow. Another major that we're adding starting the fall of 16, I was just in Los Angeles last week talking about this, is a new major in moving image production. So years ago, our film and cinema major, our photography major was eliminated, but now we're going to revive that, and we're going to get an opportunity to do that from scratch. It's very exciting.
With that expansion, there's also been other expansions in the Arts District with the Wexner Center for the Arts in Sullivan Hall. Are there any further plans for expansion?
Sure. I mean, the Arts District, the university has a $200 million plan for expansion of the Arts District. We renovated Hayes Hall, renovated Hopkins Hall, renovated Sullivan Hall, a horrible building that now is just absolutely state-of-the-art. Next up is the music buildings, Weigel and Hughes, and that plan is to do renovations of both of those and an expansion, a new performing space in Weigel. So that's next up, and then even further down the road, perhaps moving the Drake Theater building from its current location to the arts campus to better integrate the theater into all the arts.
You've been very accessible on social media and you host Donuts with the Dean. Why do you think it's important to keep that communication network open with the students of Ohio State?
This is why we're here as faculty members. This is why I got into business, was to teach. And as dean, it's not practical for me to teach my usual teaching load. Rather, I want to get out and get to know students, to talk with them, see what issues are in their mind. For example, a year ago, we changed how advising is done in the college. And I want to talk to students. How is it working? How is the new system? Is it better like we thought? People are telling me it is, but really, how does it impact students? So that's an opportunity. Plus, it's just fun.
What would you say your favorite part about your job is?
Favorite part of the job is just seeing the effect we have on students and seeing students who go out and have the success and seeing the excitement around research we see in both our students and our faculty.
Last segment, we're looking at the Wexner Medical Center, and we'll take you inside the new James Cancer Hospital.
We also bring you the story of an Ohio State baseball player fighting for his life against leukemia.
We'll be right back. Spanning 1.1 million square feet and standing 21 stories high, the most recent addition to the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is a brand new comprehensive cancer center. Senior Lantern TV reporter Melissa Prass can tell us more about this new cancer facility. Melissa?
Thanks, Franz. The new James Cancer Hospital and Soliv Research Institute will rank third largest among cancer hospitals in the nation. Now, among hospitals that top the new James in size is the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, which plans to spend 3 times the amount of money that the new James did. As for the James Cancer Center here on Ohio State's campus, I got a chance to step inside the facility for a tour. Take a peek at what I learned.
I think just about everyone has an immediate family member who is impacted by cancer. And that was certainly true of my grandfather and true of me and so many others.
Cancer combated with confidence.
Creating a cancer-free world truly requires an all-hands-on-deck approach. Our goal may be audacious, but more importantly, it is feasible.
That was a common theme at the new James Cancer Hospital ribbon-cutting ceremony earlier this month.
In more than 20 years of working in the cancer advocacy community around the world, I've never seen a community rally around a cancer program the way this community has rallied around the James. And I know we're all proud and honored to be associated with this new James. And as just one cancer survivor, and as the son of a breast cancer survivor, and the son of a prostate cancer survivor, it is so humbling to be a part of the new James and this entire community.
But for some of the speakers at the event, this isn't the first cancer hospital they've seen built in the Columbus area.
When the original James Cancer Hospital and Soliv Research Institute was being formed, when that was under construction, I remember taking trips with my grandfather to and from work. I would get to tag along and he'd get to see progress. At that time, he was still seeing patients, and it was important to him that he would be able to operate in that new facility, and which is something he was able to do.
What happened to Frozen?
What I saw over those instances, over those years, was this dogged determination of my grandfather's to see this dream of his become a reality.
Now, this is the largest building on The Ohio State University's campus, with a budget of $1.1 billion.
The funding model for that is that using the university's debt capacity, we will be borrowing in excess of $900 million, which the medical center will pay off, just as if you're paying off a mortgage on a home. In addition, we have a $75 million fundraising goal, and we also received a $100 million federal grant.
But James says that dollars don't matter as much to someone who has come into contact with or had a family member diagnosed with cancer.
Anyone who has been impacted by cancer, I think they would think about it in a different way. They would say, well, what will it take for us to fix this problem? I don't think they would think in terms of numbers of dollars, but whatever it would take in order to solve this issue. And if that's 10 billion, if that's 1 billion, that's fine, so long as we're making progress.
Will be moved into the new James starting December 12th, with the help of volunteers and staff like breast cancer survivor Steve Polak.
I realized that I wanted to volunteer. I needed to volunteer. That having had cancer, not only did I have, an obligation to fight back, but I had an obligation to give back. And so I went through training to be a volunteer. And I will tell you that my volunteer days are really the best days of my week.
And with all of the new equipment at this facility, there's still some being brought back from the old James, like this Hope sculpture, which was constructed by a Holocaust survivor.
I think having the new James in particular, but a comprehensive cancer center in Columbus, it means something special to the people who live here. It all translates to hope.
The building is filled with details, like the wood on doors and shelves from eucalyptus trees, and also a unique concept for its radiation center, according to Dr. Schuler.
We are not aware of any facilities like this that have a radiation oncology center that's all on an elevated floor.
Dr. Schuler said natural light is one of the key goals to patient floors in the hospital. Polak said this is one of the first things he noticed.
I know that when I saw that room on the 20th floor and looked out the window and saw the Ohio Stadium, and I've been a Buckeye for over 50 years, and my feeling was if I had been in this room, my time in here might have been cut in half. It just feels so good to be here.
The new James will be integrating alternative types of therapy, such as having regular concerts in the lobby, a $1 million budget for art, and terrace gardens on middle floors of the building.
In March 2015, the new James will also be opening an emergency cancer department. As for the previous James, Dr. Schuler told me it will be converted into a regular operational hospital.
As the James aims to help Ohioans beat cancer, a Buckeye pitcher is also in the stages of a long fight with leukemia. Our sports director, Hayden Grove, brings you Zach Farmer's story as he battles to get back on the diamond.
In May of this year, our assistant sports director, Aaron Yerian, did a story on the Ohio State baseball team, which held an event with the National Bone Marrow Donor Program to help find a match for then freshman pitcher Zach Farmer, who had just been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. The efforts of the drive included many players, coaches, students, and fans offering their help by swabbing their cheeks and providing DNA to be a potential match for Farmer so that he could receive a bone marrow transplant to combat his diagnosed illness.
It really hits you hard. And, our goal is to obviously find him a match and then we've already gotten a couple hundred people in the registry that weren't going to sign up before. So those hopefully can be matches for other people that have similar type of diseases, and that's the overall goal.
Fast forward nearly a half a year to the day, and Farmer's life has certainly changed. After finding a match, receiving a bone marrow transplant, and undergoing various rounds of radiation, Farmer is now cancer-free and on the road to a complete recovery.
I've been feeling real good. Things have been getting better.
at first, it was a little rough, just energy-wise and eating. But everything's been about 10 times better, so hopefully that trend keeps going.
On this particular day, the Ohio State baseball team was preparing for their Fall Ball World Series, which meant that Farmer got to be with the boys once again, a feeling that he certainly cherishes given all of his struggles.
It was great, being able to come out on this field again, It's just a great feeling being able to get out, see everybody, talk to everybody. It's awesome.
But Farmer wasn't the only one happy that he was back at the ballpark. Seemingly everyone at Nick Swisher Field on this day was thrilled, including Ohio State head coach Greg Beals.
Well, it's great having him. It's great having him around the ballpark, and it's a tough time for him as we get started and we're practicing and preparing, and him not being able to be out here. I think it helps him coming out to the ballpark, really seeing the guys. Most importantly, it helps the entire team, all of our guys getting to see him. Everybody's wondering how he's doing. They're texting with him, checking up on him, but getting to see him is really a good thing for our guys.
Beals took it upon himself to see Farmer quite a bit throughout the treatment process, to offer his support and to keep Farmer aware of one very important fact.
First and foremost, what I wanted to reassure to him is that Ohio State baseball was going to be here and it's going to stay here, and that his spot on this team was here. I didn't want him worrying about, like he's going to as a competitor, as a baseball player, what's this mean? I wanted him to concentrate on fighting the fight that he has at hand. And I didn't want him worrying about Ohio State baseball and where that might be, where his status stood and all that. So I wanted to ensure him that when he was done fighting this fight with leukemia, that he had his spot back here on this team, and that we were very much looking forward to that day.
So when might Farmer find himself back on the diamond? According to the man himself, along with his doctors and coaches, 2016 seems to be the goal.
My personal goal was being able to come back and play next summer, and I'm working towards that. And that me and the doctors really decided on the 2016 season. That was a goal for all of us, and hopefully that plan works out.
As Beals alluded, Farmer seems to believe that he'll be stronger than he was prior to his diagnosis when he does make it back to the mound. And while that might be the fierce competitor in him speaking, doctors told him that with this disease, patients are fully able to recover to full strength and beyond.
Well, that's certainly the game plan. That's what we're hoping for. And Zach's a tough young man and a very competitive young man. If anybody's gonna fight through this and get themselves back to that position, it's Zach Farmer. And when he gets himself physically strong again, having fought this fight, it's going to be a whole new animal that people are going to deal with once he gets back on that mound.
When Farmer does put on the uniform and stretch to the mound for the first time following his diagnosis, be it in 2016, before or after, what does he think it'll be like? Well, it's something he dreams about every day.
Definitely, I think about it every day. It's going to be awesome being able to pitch again. Hopefully there's a little bit of fans here to support too. That was a thought too, but just take it day by day and see how it goes.
As I left Bill Davis Stadium, I ran into Zach's mother and Zach's girlfriend, who'd been watching the day's events unfold from the stands as Zach spoke with the media and hung out with his teammates on the field. Before I left, I told Zach's mother that I wished to see the field soon. With a fierce determination, maybe the same determination that Zach used to reach this point in his progress, she said to me, "Oh, you will, honey. You will." Until then, for Lantern TV, I'm Hayden Grove.
Thanks, Hayden. That's all for this episode of Buckeye Interior.
In the past 50 or so minutes, we only scratched the surface of the Ohio State experience. So be sure to catch future Lantern Media content in both print and video on thelantern.com.
Good evening, and thanks for watching.